Hello and welcome to today's episode of Let's Talk Loyalty and Loyalty TV. I want to start by saying I'm not in our usual TV studio with huge apologies. Unfortunately, I've had some horrendous back pain this week and it has literally meant that I can't travel. So I'm working back at home in my home studio, and as a result, our lighting is less than perfect than I would like it to be. So just wanted to say that up front. More importantly, this conversation is a wonderful one. We're back in the hotel industry today with Meliá Hotels International, a Spanish hospitality group founded in 1956 in Mallorca in Spain. Melia Hotels International now has a portfolio of more than 400 hotels throughout 40 countries with 10 different brands, and it is one of the leading companies in resort hotels worldwide. Melia Hotels was the first hotel company in Europe to go public way back in 1996. And they were also recently celebrated as the most sustainable hotel company worldwide in the latest S&P Global Corporate Sustainability Assessment. Melia Hotels started their first loyalty proposition for guests 30 years ago. So 2024 represents a year of celebration, evolution, and further expansion. Joining me today to share their journey is Sara Matarrubia, the Global Loyalty Director for Meliá Rewards. I hope you enjoy our conversation. So, Sara Matarrubia, welcome to Let's Talk Loyalty and Loyalty TV.
Thank you, Paula. Very nice to be here with all of you today.
It's a very exciting time. You guys are doing incredible work. And I confess I didn't really know a lot about Meliá Rewards before we met and were introduced to each other. But it's quite a milestone you have in terms of 30 years of rewarding your customers and in such a competitive industry. So we're here to learn all about what it is that the Melia brand, first of all, stands for, and the role of loyalty, I guess, in terms of making sure that the business continues to grow and thrive. So thank you for joining us, and let's kick off with our usual opening question, Sara. As you know, we love to pick the brains of our guests to understand, as a loyalty professional, what you admire and what you see as working for consumers in the current market. So let's start off with that first question. Tell us, Sara, what is your favorite loyalty program?
Yeah, this is really the most different question I've been thinking about ever since I watched the program. And I really would like to answer not as a professional, but also as a person that really enjoyed that program. And I'm gonna go for Amex, really, Amex cards and Cobran cards, or maybe say reward, whatever you want to call it, all the different versions. And why is that? Because I think they did such an amazing job of having a product that is really a financial product. So you are having a credit card, but now you are relating very nice feeling around that product because you can earn benefits, because they go beyond the typical perks, these exclusive events, this experience money cannot buy, and all these things together. And also they made very clear the value you have in the transaction, the way you need to enroll in the promotions, and then when you get the cashback experiences. So all these things together, I think is what I will call number one loyalty program for me.
Well done. Yes, and we've never had American Express on the show, so we'll put that on our wish list. So is that the only one? Did you have a second one? I seem to recall that you wanted to mention another one as well.
Yeah, I think really when you work for the travel industry, all the airlines and all the hotels, really, most of the programs that we all know, they are very, very good because there are a combination of points, benefits, levels. So really, they are very sophisticated, all of them. But I've been working very closely with the Avios team, what they have done with the Iberia Plus or the British Airways program.
Yeah.
And in the last year, they can really make such a tremendous effort for you to get Avios be beyond what it could be the flying experience. So you not can get Avios if you take the Cabify, or if you buy some ordering, or you would like to warn your Avios when you book a hotel. All these things together, really, I think they made a very compelling offer, and I think they really have done a great job.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's the first time actually that Avios as a currency name for me is something that has really achieved that global recognition because they did have a rebrand, and currencies having a name, of course, requires some education. But clearly, from your side, you're very familiar with the currency name. Iberia, of course, is an incredible airline, particularly in your home market there in Spain. So I can see why you're a big fan of Avios and the whole proposition there as well.
Yeah, and I think they did a very good job, not just because they have the natural market before. It was Spain, and then, with the IAG, or it was the British market. But then even if you go with Qatar, they're
Yes.
using APIs, which is really amazing. And the value they have put into the currency, really, I think it's very well done.
It's doing super well, absolutely. So well done to those guys. So let's get into your work, Sarah. Kick us off first, if you don't mind, with an introduction to the brand. Because as you know, we do have a global audience, whether they might be in the US or Australia or anywhere in between. And Melia Hotels is a beautiful brand, but not as widely known perhaps as other brands. So please do introduce to the whole company to us.
Absolutely, I'm very pleased to. So, Meliá Hotels International is the first hotel company in Spain, and is the third in Europe and one of the leading in the world. We have 350 hotels in almost 40 countries, and we have nine different brands from the mid scale into the luxury. So the name Melia really is our core brand that will be a luxury brand, a premium luxury brand. And then we have the Grand Melia hotels, which are hotels that are in historic buildings or top location. Then we have Melia Collection. We have the Paradisus brand, which is more in the Americas. This is luxury, all-inclusive experience. And then the Me brand, which is more like an avant-garde lifestyle brand. And then we have the Inside brand and when the Soul brand and the affiliated by Melia. So we have these nine brands, and in all these markets, and Meliá Rewards really is kind of the fuel that they kind of bond all these brands together.
Okay, perfect, great. And I know you're very loyal to the company. You've been there a very long time, although you've said it's only the last couple of years on the loyalty side. But would you take us through the history of loyalty in the business, Sarah? I suppose it seems to be something that's very core to how your whole brand operates in terms of taking care of your guests, of course. The whole resort kind of positioning fits super nicely as well. And I know, of course, you've always had some very loyal business travelers as well. But tell us about, where did the loyalty journey start for you?
Really, if talking about myself, I actually probably started in loyalty when I was starting as a front desk person that I have to enroll members into the program.
Okay.
And then I've been like a marketing director, like having different positions for 15 years. And my role with the loyalty program was really more about meaning working in workshop with them, trying to work with a value proposition, but it was really not something that I did in my core. And for the last 3 years, I've been leading the loyalty global department, both for the B2C, what we call Meliá Rewards for the consumers, and from the B2B, what we call the Melia Pro. And it's been an amazing journey. It's been kind of challenging one
Yeah.
because I mean, for a person like me, that in the last 15 years I've done marketing more like a strategy, brand marketing, product, e-commerce, PR, social media, anything that you can think of. And over 15 years, you are kind of like a senior professional, right? You bring a lot of experience to the table. So I was the new one, and I was really new in this loyalty arena. And in all these conversations about technology and about the platforms that sometimes you can really get lost into. I remember watching one of your programs that one was called Blind Loyalty with Amanda, and she says something that I really love. That she say, radically simplifying the complexity of loyalty, and it really felt like it was said just to me because you're a new person talking to loyalty. There are so many KPIs, there are so many partners, there are so many platforms that is so easy to really get lost into that. That say, wow, what do I do next? And so, yes, it's been 3 years dedicated body and soul to loyalty. And now I really enjoy my position.
For sure. And I think you're not alone, Sarah. That was exactly my experience. When I moved into loyalty, also, I felt like a very, seasoned digital marketer, had a lot of big brand experience, corporate and, independent. And yet, as soon as I was asked to go in and run a loyalty program, I felt like I was totally drowning. And it's one of the reasons actually for this podcast, because I always felt I needed more insights. And whether it's something as important as what Amanda said exactly in that episode about radical simplification, or any other comment that somebody might make. One that I remember recently actually was, again, a wonderful loyalty consultant down in Ellipsis in Australia. And he was like, there are so many really brilliant people working in this industry, and yet we still have a lot of problems. So that makes me feel like I'm not the only one. So we're here to share the learnings and to share all of what we're doing. So 3 years into loyalty. And then I suppose Melia Rewards itself, Sarah, tell us about, its journey, because I know it's a huge milestone this year for you guys with 30 years of this proposition, I know under different brands, but take us a little bit back in terms of what you have been doing and what you're currently doing.
Yeah. So really, as we call it, you can see in my background, 30 years of rewards. So really, and in these 30 years, many things have changed. Really. So yeah, if I can think of the most significant ones, I think for not for the very beginning, because I think for the very beginning, our program was more like a frequent guest program. So it was more based on earning and burning points. So, but very soon we make a change into this emotional loyalty, this idea that really the customer is the center. And we switch into what we call collect emotions. So the program kind of evolved into that journey that the following one that we have, the claim was Meliá Rewards belonging means more, because we really felt that customers, first and foremost, they have like a loyalty to our brand. They really like Melia Hotels. And Melia Rewards, it was the smartest way, or the most satisfying, or the most rewarding way to really enjoy Melia. So we kind of wrap into that. And I think the last changing that is really changing is really after the pandemic. After the pandemic, we have like a very balanced audience between business traveler and leisure customers. And as you know, I mean, business traveling somehow is back, but not as it was, and not as frequent as it was. So
Yes.
there are really many differences from a leisure customer and a business traveler. So when we come back from the lockdown, we launched the new Melia.com website, and we also launched the new Melia Rewards website. So what we did, we asked all the stakeholders, the hotels, the vendors, the franchisees, but mainly we asked the customers. And what they say about Melia Rewards, they say, we really like the program. We would like it to be a little bit more exclusive.
Okay.
And sometimes we don't understand, or we don't know what are the benefits that you're offering. And sometimes your people don't know the benefits that you're offering. And what it was more shocking to us is a lot of people that they claim themselves to be super loyal to Melia. If you consider typical loyalty standards, they were not, because maybe they haven't just traveled once, but they haven't traveled the last 10 years with us. So this whole thing's kind of flipped my mind, to be honest, and we started thinking that even though in Melia we had always considered the nice, the stays, and the money you spend with us, like three different criteria to earn the different levels, we're starting of thinking that the frequency that we have in the past is gone, so we have to apply more milestone rewards in the middle, because if not, kind of reaching gold and platinum, it was extremely difficult unless you have a credit card. And also, we need to somehow acknowledge these people that they feel so loyal to us. and for the typical loyalty standard, they are not. So let's say things that we are considering for the new Meliá Rewards benefits, that usually the points expire in a year. So if you are a lazy traveler, let's say one year you go on holidays in June and the following year you go in July. So your points would have expired. So we would like to change for 12 months into 15 months. Or things like, let's say that you buy points with us. That is something that really we like in our program. You can buy points anytime during the booking process at any moment, but those points also they do expire at the moment. So one of the things that we're going to change is like the points that you buy is going to be evergreen. They're not going never to expire because it's just something different that you earn them because that you actually bought them.
Yeah,
So,
totally
and I
agree.
think this and this thing of considering always and foremost that we are in the hotel industry, that we are a hospitality business, and people come first. So in our case, I have a sentence that I always say with the teams that they say, "Are people that are coming back for money or for love or for everything in between?"
Okay. Yeah.
But we wanted to come back for love.
Okay.
And this emotional loyalty, so this change into the business traveler, this shift from a digital customer that now goes directly to our channels, and also, and very important too, acknowledge the travel agent. Some years ago, I'm sure you're familiar with this, all the big companies, the hotel companies, we bet on our own channels. Melia.com, Wyndham.com, Marriott.com, whatever. So somehow the travel agents that they always with us in destination that let's say that it's very difficult to fly or it's not so easy for someone to actually, let's say you go to Tanzania, it's not so easy for you to arrange your package. So they say that we were a little bit unfair, that sometimes we rely on them and sometimes we didn't. So the fourth thing that we are actually doing is we recognize 100% travel agents always. It doesn't matter if you book a hotel in Paris, that is very easy for you to book, or if you book a hotel in Tanzania. And it doesn't matter that what is the channel that you use. So we reward both the travel agent and the member that is actually staying in our hotels.
Nice.
And
Nice.
the last thing that is also important is the people in our hotels that they do really the same that they saying that they didn't really understand the proposition. So we make sure that our people are the brand advocates, are the brand that love the program, and they're able to communicate it to the members, to the audience, so someone is come to our hotels.
Yeah. Okay. So super comprehensive, Sarah. Thank you for all of that. It really has been an incredible journey. I think you told me last time that we met as well that, in the beginning, back in, 1956 and onwards, it began, I suppose, more for the business traveler. And as you said, now with the focus on resorts, it really has become much more leisure focused. And again, as you said, of course, the pandemic changed all of those profiles. So your loyalty proposition does have to evolve in a way that even leisure customers who might come and have a resort stay once a year do have lots of reasons to engage, feel rewarded, and as you said, regardless of the channel. So very comprehensive. And of course, the employees, we can never forget, and the importance of that moment of truth for people who are literally a guest in the moment and exactly how they experience that. So can you give us a sense, Sarah, of your numbers, your statistics, how big the program has grown, any penetration numbers in terms of, how many of your guests are members? We'd love to get some insights.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I started working on when I started working in loyalty was actually what is the really the most important KPIs for the program. And I was really checking into the industry, and we have this enrollment, the churn rate, all these ratios that you can think of. And I create like my own KPIs with the data scientists that we have in the company. And there are the four things that I think that are key and they keep us on track. So the first one would be our database, our members. So talking about numbers, we are a little bit over 15 million people.
Wonderful.
We have 1 million elite customers, and we have like 80,000 new members per month. So that would be if we just thinking about numbers and enrolling people. If we go a little bit more into the customer, the way that they did behave, one of the numbers that we always check is, did you have a Meliá Rewards account before you made the book? Because many times, especially in hotels or especially in hotels that we kind of grant a member discount rate, many people said that people enroll in the program just for the discount. So for me, it's important to say, if you just enroll in the program because you were making the booking, which is good because it's for the first time, or if you were already a member of the program. So if we think of 2023, 49 of the people who made a booking in Melia.com, they were already a Meliá Rewards member.
Okay.
And all the things that we check into the members are the things that if you compare with non-members, like, for instance, the ADR, which is the average daily rate in a hotel, is 21% more in a member than in a non-member, or people spend around 18% more in our hotels in ancillaries, like restaurants or spas, or they book more time with us. Obviously, the acquisition is less. So that would be like the first. And then also something that was very important for us to really become international. In the early years of the program, we were mainly a Spanish company with hotels abroad, let's say. We opened a hotel in Berlin and we filled the hotel with Spaniards. So now, really, if we think into the database, 75% of our members are not Spanish, not for any other country. So from Vietnam into the United States or Brazil, and this is something that is also very important for us when we penetrate in a new market. So the second thing that would be what I call the demand generator. So I think the loyalty programs are first the best way to know your member, to know your people, but the second is really a demand generator. So if we think of that, 38% of around channel sales are made by Meliá Reward members, and 32% of all the bookings of the company. So a little bit of more than one third is done for loyal members, which is really amazing figures.
Yeah.
We can go deep into those members, but I think it's fine. So the third thing that for me is critical, when I was really learning about loyalty, I found out many loyalty programs that, in my opinion, actually did not work, because there are programs based on you earn points, but those points kind of expire, and people are very happy because of them because they make a lot of money. But I think it's such a short-sighted vision. So the third indicator that I use quite a lot is what I call the activity within the program. So last year in Melia, we earned 9 billion points, and people redeemed 6 billion points, which I'm not sure, maybe you have more insights for the program. I'm not sure if it's good or bad because I don't know. I don't have anyone to compare with, but
Yeah.
I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
And it's much better than we had in the past.
Indeed. And I don't have an industry performance statistics around redemption rates there specifically for hotels, because I think it would have to be a hotel comparison for you to consider it valid. But I know that you're very good about connecting with the industry. So what I can suggest, if anybody wants to have that discussion with you offline privately and just swap at least some insights in terms of what they might think is a good redemption rate. Certainly to me, that sounds phenomenal. If 6 billion out of your 9 billion were actually redeemed, that looks like it's absolutely meaningful to your members. But of course, we always want it higher. I've certainly in a
Sure.
coalition program heard like up to 90%, for example. So it is possible to get it higher. But again, I don't have the hotel expertise, even
Yeah.
that you have, or lots of other people listening to the show. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
definitely
There
keep that one
will be.
open. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much. So you heard something, it will be very helpful. And the fourth thing that I don't know is the fourth thing or the first one, really depends on the order you can think of, but it will be customer satisfaction. And we measure two different things. How is your satisfaction with Melia, generally speaking? And what is your satisfaction with the program? And these things are it really is we had 81% satisfaction with the program, which I think is a very good number, but again, I don't know how to compare with. But if I go into the MPS, that I'm more familiar with that, our
Mm,
platinum members, which are top tiers, they have a 62% satisfaction in NPS, which I think is an amazing figure.
yeah.
So these
In it,
four
yeah.
things like database, performance, activity
Mm,
ratios, put it that way, and customer satisfaction, that will be the KPIs, the sources that we're following.
brilliant. Yeah. Super. So the next piece I wanted to ask you about was some of your propositions you talked to me about, which I think are very unique to Melia. One is the pay with points, which I know you explained is incredibly flexible and dynamic. And then I know you have an emotional loyalty proposition as well that you're going to share with our audience. So would you mind talking us through those? Because again, that's where the innovation, I suppose, and the inspiration is coming.
Thank you. Yes, very pleased to do that. So if you go to any or most of the hotel loyalty programs, when you try to redeem, there is like kind of redeem rates, put it that way. So depends on if low season, mid season, or high season. So for a room like this, you have to pay 10,000 points, if not 20,000, if not 30,000. And usually it's something like it's kind of set up. You can have like different tiers, but it's not completely flexible. In our case, it's 100% flexible and dynamic. There are no blackout dates. There are not hidden costs. There are nothing like this. So it doesn't matter how many points do you have. Every combination you can think of is done. So it's really in the process of Melia.com in your app or in the contact center. You can redeem whatever is the quantity that you have,
Mm,
but not also in the booking process, which is something very unique. Some of brands have done something similar, but not as flexible as ours because it could be just as a currency, really.
mm,
But also, when you are in the hotel, if you would like to pay your dinner or your spa or your upgrade or whatever, you can pay in every hotel in the company, in the restaurant or in the front desk for everything that you have charged into your account.
wow.
And this is very funny. I remember I was one in our hotels in Dominican Republic. And you know, this is a luxury hotel, this is an all inclusive hotel. But even in all inclusive hotels, people do have some expenses, like they have gone to the spa, I think.
Mm,
So it was they were doing the checkout, and the lady in the front would say, Miss Wilson or whatever that was, you have to pay $90, or would you like to pay with points? And she was like, can I pay with my points? Yes, you may. And she paid nothing. So
beautiful.
the smile on the face of this woman that was about to pay $90 for a spa massage and pay nothing, it was really amazing. And in the other way around, there are some people that are very loyal to us, and you tell them that they can pay with points at a restaurant, and they say, no, 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 I want to keep all my points because it's like a savings for me,
Yeah.
and I would like to pay for my next holiday. So this super flexibility, I haven't seen anything like it really, and in any hotel company, anything like it. It's something similar and close to, but as flexible as we are and as dynamic as we are, I haven't seen it. And the second thing that I would like to share with the audience, we were reviewing the comments of our guests about our program, about how much they enjoy the program, but sometimes they didn't get the feeling that they were so special. So we started thinking, what is the most special thing that we do? And actually, the most special thing that we do is when we open a hotel. and we invite the press to present that hotel. So we do something amazing. There is a world-class chef, blah, blah, blah. So we started to invite customers to that event. And we call that meaningful moments. And they were really meaningful. So someone from the Meliá Rewards team joined that table, and they really would like very much to be part of that, to be part of how we launch a new hotel, how we launch a new service or a new campaign. So with this idea in mind, we start thinking, how can we spread this to a broader audience? So we are starting thinking about, is a prize, is a quiz, what that is. And we have read an article about what they call the surprise and delight effect that I know other people have mentioned in the show. And is following neuroscience, when you receive a reward that is unexpected, the effect that have in you is exponential. So we started to thinking about that, and we launched a campaign in summer that it was called the Meliá Rewards Effect. And we have some resort credit into that. And we asked the hotels to do something nice for at least one hotel during the summer. And you have like a budget of $100. So starting with this, we evolved a little bit the proposition. And right now, what we have piloting in 30 hotels is like this idea, you listen very closely to customer and you do something surprising to them. And I'm gonna put you some two samples that they are very nice and very emotional to me, to be honest. So first one was there is this lady in one hotel in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and she's talking to her friend in the check-in. And she is an author. She's about to present her book this very same day, and she was very nervous. She was telling her friend, "I'm not sure if people are gonna show up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it right. Oh my god, something like that." So she went to the hairdresser, and when she went back to the room, in the hotel they had sent to her a very nice cake with a very nice note saying, "Miss blah blah blah, we are sure you are going to rock it. We are sure that it's gonna be a great success. You have all the support from ours. Very good luck. The Meliá Rewards effect." And later, there is this lady with uploading a story on Instagram, almost crying because it was that nice at that moment. And other example that I can think of, we were one hotel in Orlando, Melia Orlando, and we have this family come from Spain, and the little kid was flying with a Winnie the Pooh, like a bird, like a puppy, and he lost it in the luggage changes. So the little boy was crying. So the front desk again, they realized the situation. They went to the park, they bought the Winnie the Pooh, and they put it in the room.
Oh,
And the kid was like, "Oh my god!" And the good thing about this is not just what I really like about this
yeah.
is when we talk about the people that are piloting this. It's like when you prepare a surprise for think about your family or your partner or whatever.
Mm,
You receive that is nice, but the way that you prepare it, I think it's even nicer. And the emotion that creates in you, prepare
yeah.
something special for someone, is truly creating this magic, this energy. So last week I went to Palma, and we have to wake up around 5 a.m. And someone from my team, they brought me a sandwich because we didn't have time for breakfast. And he said, "Here you have a Meliá Rewards effect for you." So this whole project, we really, really love it. And we were thinking about putting some goals or not. So you have to do two, three, or four. But we wanted to keep it completely open, so depend on the hotel. If it's one per day, it's one per day. If it's two, it's two. Because what is true about this is that it's really genuine and it comes from listening to the customer. So I'm very proud of that. And looking forward to roll it out in the whole hotels.
Wonderful. Yeah, super authentic. And obviously, as a guest, they feel really seen. And it's the very epitome of emotional loyalty, which I know is something that you're very passionate about because, of course, all the transactional piece is covered. and members understand that. But when you go that extra mile and really see them, I think they do really kind of go, you know what? And then the advocacy as well, of course, Sarah, becomes like that's, actually immeasurable. But as marketeers, we know, we tell our friends, our family, we talk about it on podcasts. So the effect of
Totally.
surprise and delight. I mean, it's hard to manage, it's hard to scale. So I think as loyalty professionals, we all know that, but that doesn't mean that we can't try. And again, as loyalty, professionals, I guess we really want to have those extra moments beyond the basics, where we can
Totally.
create those wow experiences. So I'll be dying to hear how that scales up when you do roll it out over time. So
Yeah.
the final piece then is, I suppose, what are the challenges that you see, either now or going forward? Because we all know that we are in this quite complex business, with so much changing, whether it's, the economy or whatever. I don't need to tell you. But what do you see as the biggest challenges that's keeping you, I suppose, inspired in terms of continuing to evolve?
I think there are many things that can be challenging. I think that the most important thing is be true to your true proposition. I think the most important thing is the main thing be the main thing.
Yeah.
So if we are here because we would like our customers to keep on coming back, to keep on bringing loyalty. This should be every single time in our mind when we prioritize. I think one of the most challenging things right now for every marketeers is how many new things there are, how many new platforms there are, how many the customer is really expecting that from a second. We are super efficient, but we have the personalization. So I think this one of the main challenges that we are encountering. For instance, if we're talking about artificial intelligence, we are piloting a couple of solution, but right now they are not ready. Really, we have to kind of check everything these kind of robots are doing.
Yeah.
But I think kind of the way that you manage and balance between things that they are like really super transactional and super efficient, and kind of engage with different audiences. I was talking we were talking about when we prepared the show that um, we want to be very close to the customers. So my team, what is really helping the customer, where you have a problem in our hotel, or you don't see the points in your balance, that is called the member care. So we have even a Teams team that when something is happening with a customer, we kind of talk and try to say, hey, I will do that, I will do everything. So we have this guy that has been in our hotel, was something in 25 years old, something like that. And usually in the past, when we have something like that, you took the phone and you talk to the customer, and they really love it.
Yeah.
And I did that myself, and he was like paralyzed. And we cannot talk right now. And he kind of, did you mind to send me a WhatsApp? So I sent him a WhatsApp, and we were WhatsApping, you can say it like that, for half an hour. So he was available, but he did not want to talk to me. And so if we're talking about personalization and personal and trust, sometimes when we go the extra mile, not because I know I listened to you in the front desk telling that you were going to present a book, but it's information that you have in your profile because you stay in another hotel. Most of customers don't like it. They seem like kind of you are invading. So I think all these new technologies, the cookieless environment, data protection, and the way that we address to the new generation, but still being true to yourself, to your own essence as a brand.
Mm.
And also, there is kind of a lack to have professionals, not so much in loyalty, but in the hotels, like waiters and things like that. But I think probably the rapidity and the change, and it's very important to kind of stay focused and sometimes kind of forget a little bit about the noise. So you are aware of all the new trends, but kind of trip on track and move forward.
I like it. Clear focus, Sarah. Amazing. So it sounds like you have an incredibly busy year ahead. Obviously, very focused on, particularly, as you said, the Meliá Rewards effect, building your emotional loyalty, scaling everything up, leveraging the idea of 30 years of rewarding your guests. So definitely an exciting year ahead. We're really excited to be able to share the story from our side. Is there any other kind of big thing that you think is important for our audience, Sarah, that I haven't asked you about that you wanted to talk about today?
I think we kind of cover the most important things. I think people that we are loyalty professionals, the last thing that probably I would like to share is I would like to thank you, Paula, because really you're so, for me, that I'm very new into the loyal arena, it's been really my source number one. And for my team, we have this thing that every week, each one of our team members kind of listen the whole podcast and send some briefing to all the teams, and we pick up always ideas. So I will recommend everyone to listen to this podcast and also to participate in this year. There are many events ahead, like Dubai or the Loyalty Awards in Bangkok. And yeah, I would like somehow that especially in Spain, there is nothing like a loyalty club. I just joined the European Loyalty Association,
Yeah.
but I think really loyalty professional, we need to move a little bit forward into the clarity you were mentioned in the hotel industry. For many years, we have the STR and other KPIs that people we do share. So you know more or less what you're doing. But in loyalty, at least of the people that I've been working with, people do not share much. I'm not sure about any other countries. I'm not sure about any other industries. But in
Yeah.
the hotel industry, it's something like a mystery. You know what everybody does because you can see in websites or, but we don't share much. So I think this kind of network that you're creating is very fulfilling,
Mm.
and I would like to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Honestly, Sarah, yes, you're almost reading my mind. We're doing as much as we can on the content front, but clearly, as you've mentioned, there's so many events. For example, Loyalty Connect is coming up at the end of April, and I'm supporting that event. I think that's the biggest one in the world this year for loyalty professionals. But in addition to that, I do feel that there's an opportunity for us as a community, as you've said, to share in a safe way, because otherwise, how does any of us know, what does success look like? So I think there's a lot of value in our community, and definitely keen to make sure that we get opportunities to connect. I'm always trying to travel myself to as many events as possible. I'm certainly going to Amanda's event in South Africa this year as another one, and also down to the Australian Loyalty Association. So new markets and conferences I haven't attended before, with exactly that same purpose, Sarah. I want to connect with other people and learn from them, because I think the job of learning is never done. And from my side, the education and innovation that's going on around the industry is something that I know our audience loves to hear. So thank you for listening, and thank you for having your team to listen. It's very inspiring to us. We're only a small business, so we're definitely trying to keep as much of this content flowing so that we all kind of learn from each other. So listen, on that note, I'm going to let you go. So it's been a wonderful conversation. So Sara Matarrubia, Global Loyalty Director with Melia Hotels International, thank you so much from Let's Talk Loyalty and Loyalty TV.
Thank you. Bye bye.